Hello everyone, this is Naerina from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. For this episode, nominated on Patreon by the Evil Scotsman, we will be taking a brief look at the Storm Wardens Space Marine chapter. This video will be a brief overview for certain events that may be explored in greater depth within additional videos within the future. So, without further ado, let's begin.
We are the Storm! We are the Fury!
The Storm Wardens are a loyalist Space Marine chapter of the Adeptus Astartes, which was established during the course of an unknown founding. Like all Space Marines, each warrior of the Storm Wardens is a genetically enhanced transhuman super soldier, which is larger, stronger, and more resilient than a baseline human. The warriors of the Storm Wardens are tasked with safeguarding the region of space, known as the Halo Stars, protecting those worlds that exist along its frontier from all foes. Each warrior of the Storm Wardens is famed for not only their skill at arms and swordsmanship, but also for their insular nature and strong sense of honor. Should a Storm Warden ever give his word, then he will go to almost any length to ensure that his promise is upheld, even if it would mean his death. The Storm Wardens are experts in the roles of shock assault and close quarters combat, unleashing a whirlwind of devastation upon their foes, and their battlefield prowess has allowed the chapter to amass an impressive tally of victories over the course of their existence. Despite this, many of these victories remain unacknowledged due to the chapter's insular nature, leading to many of their heroic deeds being completely unknown to the common citizenry of the Imperium. While the Storm Wardens may be noble and unsung defenders of humanity, the chapter itself harbors a tragic past, one that is known to only a select few, even within the ranks of the chapter itself. Nonetheless, the Storm Wardens continue to stand defiant against the enemies of man, and few foes can withstand the fury of these proud and noble warriors.
The awkward question. The wise know when to remain silent.
While the exact founding of the Storm Wardens is unspecified, the chapter has been documented within Imperial records to have been active since at least M36. It was during the later years of this millennium that a great tragedy would befall the Storm Wardens, one that would become known within the Imperial records as the Nemesis Incident. While a number of contradictory accounts exist regarding the details of the Nemesis Incident, the most commonly accepted belief is that the Storm Wardens had concluded a joint operation with the Inquisition in order to combat against the insidious creatures known as the Enslavers, which had assaulted a number of Imperial worlds throughout the Stirrups cluster. These creatures had used their insidious psychic abilities to shackle the minds of thousands of Imperial citizens to their will, forcing these unfortunate souls to do their every bidding. The Storm Wardens would succeed in cleansing 3 worlds of the Zenith threat, but over the course of the campaign, the Enslavers would begin reap a bloody toll upon Imperial forces, prompting the Inquisition to innate the right of exterminatus upon the other 7 worlds of the cluster. With the Inquisition deeming the enslaver threat to have been purged, Astartes and inquisitorial forces would return to the chapter's homeworld of Sacres. However, upon their return to Sacres, it would be discovered that a number of warriors from the chapter's first company had been corrupted by the psychic taint of the enslavers. Despite the best efforts of the chapter's apothecaries, chaplains and librarians, the Storm Wardens were unable to purge this contamination from their kin, the taint becoming too deeply ingrained within their minds and souls. The Inquisition motioned for those infected to be purged due to them posing a significant threat to the remainder of the Storm Wardens, although this proposal would ultimately be rejected by the chapter. The then chapter master, Ewan Glendower, would suggest a compromise to the Inquisition, that instead of granting their brothers the Emperor's mercy, they would inter the infected into stasis until a cure for their corruption could be developed. The Inquisition would approve of Glendower's plan, though they would only allow it to be enacted under the condition that the world of Sacres be isolated from the wider Imperium and all documentation regarding the Nemesis Incident be expunged from official records. The Storm Wardens would agree to this proposal and seal the members of their first company beneath the grounds of their fortress ministry in great stasis vaults. These vaults are watched over by the chapter's dreadnoughts, who have each sworn a vow of silence as they maintain their vigil over their battle brothers. However, this course of action would inadvertently result in all traces of their history and genetic lineage becoming lost to the modern-day incarnation of the Storm Wardens, due to much of the chapter's archives being sealed away, along with the warriors of the First Company. The only sanctioned records that are permitted to exist regarding this incident are recorded within a great tome known as the Liber Tempest, but even then, many of the accounts within this text are fragmented and contradictory. The members of the chapter's librarians have sought to discern the truth behind the events of the Nemesis Incident, and it would take many long years for them to discern what they deem to be an accurate account. The chapter would then proceed to rebuild its first company with those appointed to the position, becoming known as the Inheritors. Despite this, many within the chapter believe that one day the warriors of this now lost First Company will return to aid the Storm Wardens in their darkest hour.
Let the strength of your will match the stone of your walls.
In spite of their tragic past and insular nature, the Storm Wardens have proven time and again to be stalwart defenders of humanity, taking part in numerous conflicts such as the Achilles Crusade, the cleansing of Vigil, and the defense of Heathguard. However, one of the chapter's more notable campaigns would be their defense of Kethic's world, a key agri-world within the Sacres sector. A massive orc war, led by warboss Krasgrug, launched a full-scale invasion of the world, laying waste to numerous settlements across its surface. Whether it was the orcs' intention or simply an unintended consequence, this assault threatened to starve much of the Sacres sector due to Kethic's world being the sole exporter of food for at least one of the region's subsectors. The orcs would eventually overwhelm the world's planetary defense force, although the defenders would succeed in transmitting an astropathic message requesting aid against the Xenos. Upon the message reaching Sacres, the Storm Wardens dispatched an armored strike force under the command of Lorgath Maclir, who at this point was only a company captain, in order to combat the invaders. Maclir deployed much of his forces upon the world's northern continent, expecting to face the orcs' vast numbers of war trucks, buggies, and battle wagons upon the vast expanse of open grassland, although the Storm Wardens had somewhat underestimated their foes, as under the cover of an intense dust storm, the orcs would outflank the Astartes and begin to bear down upon them. Forced to quickly rethink his plans, Maclir launched a diversionary attack comprised of bikes, land speeders, and Storm Raven aircraft to keep the orcs occupied while the remainder of the Storm Wardens redeployed to a nearby box canyon. Once his forces were in position, Maclir would order the diversionary force to feign a retreat, hoping to lure the orcs into his trap. The orcs gladly took the bait, following their foes into the depths of the canyon. The Storm Wardens would then unleash an unrelenting torrent of heavy weapons fire into the encroaching orc horde, slaughtering each and every one of the Xenos, including warboss Krasgrug himself. Sometime after the culmination of this campaign, Maclir, with the blessings of the chapter's dreadnoughts, would become promoted as the new Wardmaster of the Storm Wardens and would go on to be considered by some as the greatest Wardmaster in the chapter's history.
Success is commemorated, failure merely remembered.
The various traditions and beliefs held by the Storm Wardens are heavily influenced by the native tribesmen of Sacres, from whom the chapter draws new recruits. Those warriors who pass the necessary trials to become inducted into the chapter will often be gifted a large two-handed sword by their fellow tribesmen, known as a Sacres claymore, which will go on to replace the combat knife more commonly seen throughout the Adeptus Astartes. Should one of the chapter's warriors ever fall in battle, then his claymore will be returned to his original tribe, where it will go on to become an artifact of reverence for their kin. Due to their fierce tribal upbringing, the Storm Wardens hold the concept of swordsmanship in high esteem, and members of the chapter are known to engage each other in ritualistic duels upon the eve of battle for the honor of being part of a force's vanguard. The connection between the Storm Wardens and the native tribes of their homeworld will even result in the chapter scouts painting their faces in a similar manner to the native Sacrian warriors. The chapter's warriors are also known for wearing talismans known as Tempest amulets, which are formed from stones that had been turned into glass by the intense electrical storms of Sacres. These amulets are then wrapped with various scripts and prayers which the Storm Wardens believe will safeguard their souls in battle. A variation of these amulets that exists, known as a Guardian Amulet, will instead have inscribed upon them various prayers dedicated to those members of the chapter's first company who remained locked away in stasis. The Storm Wardens view the Emperor of Mankind as a strict and unyielding father figure who judges the souls of men by both their strength and their honor, in turn inspiring the Storm Wardens to conduct great deeds of valor and courage. This belief even leads the chapter's warriors to challenge the strongest foes that they can find upon the battlefield to single combat, although this has often led to many overconfident Storm Wardens being slain by a far superior foe. The source of the chapter's gene seed has been lost to Imperial records, making it all but impossible to determine their primogenitor Primarch. Despite this, the chapter's gene seed is considered to be both stable and pure, with little to no documented instances of genetic deviation or mutation. And that concludes this episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. If you liked this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for more content. To those who are new to 40k, we hope you learned something. So, leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.